On to our next one. I asked this speaker. I met her in my previous job. So prior to this, I was the executive director for a statewide nonprofit here in Nevada that helped. It was Energy Fit Nevada. We ran a statewide program for helping homes become more energy efficient. How I got into it is because of my finance background, and we were setting up a loan program and running rebates for the state of Nevada. And I got to meet her and work with her through that job, and it was about houses. It was making them more energy efficient, more comfortable, and healthier homes. So when we were putting together everything for the conference this year and the themes as they were coming together, and I think how much the future of what MLSs are doing and will be involved in the way for people look for their homes and what kind of homes they look for, she was absolutely the perfect match. And I'm very excited because she was also just given actually, NAR created a new position of Director of Sustainability, which I think speaks a lot to how that future is changing and how important it is becoming. When I was getting my degree here at UNLV, I was trying to get a specialty in sustainability around houses because I do think that it is very important. They told me at the time it was a buzzword. I beg to differ now. That person is no longer there, and I had a big fight with them. But it is the way things are going. And so for them to create that position and the importance of what it is, I am very, very excited. If you have not spent any time with her, she is an amazing woman. I love talking with her. She's very, very smart and very dynamic. So without any more of me telling you how excited I am, I would like for you to help me welcome Amanda Stinton to the stage to talk to you about the future of homes and the agents that sell them. Amanda.
All right, good morning, CMLS. Man, last day, huh? And we're still mostly standing, I think, right? I just want to take a second and thank Danae and her staff. This has just been a phenomenal conference so far, and they're so darn organized. Everything's wonderful here. You guys want to give them a hand real quick? So Danae prefaced that a little bit. I was very excited when she asked me to come here and speak to you all. I'm fairly new to the MLS professionals. However, I've worked for, close to a decade with realtors and associations. And I know what they do day to day, and I know that we're seeing just an immense momentum toward change in the data that is being digested and aggregated for the, I need a clicker, oh here it is, toward the homes that we're seeing. So, this is a house, yeah? Likely a new construction home, but not necessarily a new construction home. So, this is also possibly a home that's been recently renovated or retrofitted, and this matters. This is a product that realtors work with on a daily basis, and this product is changing. If this home had been recently constructed or newly renovated in the past 4 or so years, it is inherently different than a traditional home that realtors might think of for the existing housing stock. Now, we have a huge group of homes, obviously, upwards 90+% of our homes in our housing market are existing homes. So the point I want to make here is the product that realtors sell is changing. And realtors are all your clients. So the items that they work with day to day, the items that you work with day to day are completely different than what we have. My slides are a little messy here, so I apologize. Than what we've been seeing lately. So the product that the realtors sell is changing. It's a different process. You just heard this wonderful top 10 list of things that we're seeing perpetuating our markets. Things like wearables, things like smart home devices that are pushing data to the homeowner, to the consumer. And I'm going to talk a lot about products and consumers, but I think it's important sometimes to think about it that way. So bear with me as we're going through that. So this is important. If you don't take anything else away from me today, if you tune out everything else I say, listen to this. Danae had mentioned the energy efficiency and the importance of changing trends and consumer preferences. Consumers may not be going to realtors right now and saying, hey, excuse me, can you get me a LEED certified home? Can you find me an Energy Star home? We're not quite there yet, but it is undeniable based on the research that we've seen over the past several years and the research that we continue to see that consumers are seeking out the benefits that are provided by sustainable home features. So I've broken this down into 3 categories that tend to be top of mind to homeowners, buyers, and sellers. And this is any buyer and seller. These are not people who are skewed toward green homes. Those 3 things are cost savings, control, and comfort. It hits the pocketbook. It's pointing toward convenience, and it's your home. You want it to be cozy, right? So this research here, some of you are probably familiar with. This is the NAR Profile of Home Buyers and Sellers. Comes out every November. Yes, this is 2015, but this is the most recent version. Again, all buyers, all sellers. They were asked a question about the importance of what NAR at this point had dubbed environmentally friendly features. And I just want to point out the top 3 pieces there all directly impact payment of some kind. So we have heating and cooling costs. We have energy efficient appliances. And we have energy efficient lighting. All 3 of those are linked to home operation and home performance. And those are things that any buyer, any seller are caring about, to the point where only 16% of them don't consider it important. So that's something that any home that is listed, if there is a benefit that can be highlighted in relation to these 3 cost-saving features, might be noteworthy for the realtors to be able to market that and use that as an edge for that property. The second bit I want to point to, and thank you for the wonderful setup, are that consumers want control. Everything is in our pocket. We talked about the addiction to cell phones. We're talking about wearables and devices. The example I often use is Fitbit, and I know that came up, and it's Prius, and I know that came up. But these are devices now, that the way that we're interacting with devices and the way that we're interacting with technology is changing our expectations about products and about the world in which we live. And that's really what this is all about. These consumer preferences are skewing toward things like convenience and control. And that really points back to our cell phones, our smart devices, and this on-demand culture that we are living in, creating, and perpetuating for generations to come. This allows us to do things like schedule heating and cooling in our homes. It allows us to turn on the lights at sunset. It allows us to return home from vacation. I live in Chicago. We traveled in November of last year, and Chicago can get a little chilly if you've never been there. But because we have a smart thermostat, I was able to hop on my phone as I'm in the cab on the way home from the airport. So I know that the house is going to be nice at 70 degrees when I get home, heated, even if it's 40 degrees outside. Alternatively, get the air flowing if I'm coming home from someplace hot. That's something that points back to control and convenience. I'm in total control of that product, and it's an expectation. And then the last bit on there is about improvement, and this came up as well. Thinking about the Fitbit. I usually have a Fitbit on me, but I do not because, quick side note, because you guys all seem so darn friendly. The night before I left my house in Chicago, I had a very early flight. I was getting ready to go, sleeping with my Fitbit on. It's tracking my sleep, telling me how many hours of sleep I'm getting. My husband comes in the room. He knocks on the door. He said, "Oh my gosh, Amanda, I hate to do this to you, but I need your help. The dog got sprayed by a skunk in the face." So there I am now. It's 12 o'clock. It's 1 o'clock. I'm washing the dang dog over and over and over and over again. So I had my Fitbit, and I thought, gosh, what a great example for this presentation. I'll just point to this and say, I get emails once a week that compare my steps from the previous week, my floors from the previous week, and everybody who I'm friends with on the Fitbit network, I'm able to see how well I'm doing in comparison to them. And if I'm not doing so well, it might influence my behavior. Long story short, Fitbit smells like skunk. It's in the suitcase. So you're welcome. But another device to point out is thermostats. So this is pointing to smart thermostats, but programmable thermostats, which are 100% the norm right now. They're in every home. Those can save about 10% on energy costs if they're programmed and used correctly. Smart thermostats are smarter. They learn your behavior. They know when you're home. They know if you're making manual adjustments. And that can double that cost. That can double that up to about 20%. And you can manage it from anywhere. You have your smartphone. It's flexible. Again, it's on demand. And how old are the people who are new first-time home buyers now, right? We have that millennial generation, collective groan, because I'm talking about millennials. But that millennial generation is just getting into the market, and they were raised in an on-demand culture. They always had a device in their hand. They've always been managing or monitoring something, and home features are no different. So that flexibility is key. And in fact, those millennials are having such an impact on the market that we're seeing research come out. I don't know if anybody saw this, but this article, Ken Harney is a columnist, rather, and he posted this. Listen to me. This was printed in an actual physical newspaper in the Washington Post about 2-3 weeks ago. It was also in the Chicago Tribune. But the research here talks about the shift that's happening in our industry. And please take a look at that second and third line. They sampled 1,200 American adults, people who will buy and sell homes. And what this is essentially saying is that massive cache of existing homes in our housing market is considered move-in ready only if it's equipped to handle smart devices. That's what home buyers are saying now. That's the new expectation. This is not an extra feature. This is sort of becoming the norm and the expectation for these buyers. And then aside from that, they want someplace that's comfortable. Home is still an emotional place. You want to go home. You want to have a cup of coffee. You want to be comfortable in your space. If there are things intruding on that experience, it's going to be detrimental to the buying and selling process. And if there's a way to track and monitor how comfortable the interior of a home may be, that's going to be a benefit to agents. It's going to be a benefit to MLSs. So this particular piece looks at some of the things that could inhibit indoor environmental quality. So we're looking at things like dust and dander. Moisture is a big issue that can really affect the way a home feels on the inside. But it's really just showcasing that this is important. And then ranking those problems, because realtors work with clients to solve problems about their homes. So this is pointing out the problems that may exist, mainly air quality issues and water issues for any home. So I just dumped a bunch of research on you. What does this impact our industry? How does that work? What are we going to do to help home buyers based on this research? And the short answer is there's demand out there. So demand for these homes creates value for these homes. And there are several studies that point to a cost listing premium for certified green homes. There are studies that point to homes that have green features that list and sell for more than homes without. So really what it comes down to is that idea of building codes that I talked about in the very beginning. This home, let's say there's two homes right across the street from each other. They were developed in a neighborhood, same year, same operation. Somebody came in and took one of those homes and did a complete gut rehab on this home. And now it's 2016, so it's up to code for the 2015 IECC building codes, right? Those building codes are 16% inherently more efficient than, let's say, that original home was built in 2002. So that rehab is going to make the operation, the home performance of that new rehab, 16% more efficient than the counterpart across the street, even though they're the same build date. The worst job that they could have done makes that better. So realtors are learning, albeit slowly, but they're learning, that that is a market edge. And to understand the documentation that might be able to be paired with a home based on a renovation or a retrofit or a complete gut rehab, that can impact home performance, that can impact the cost that a homeowner pays as they're tracking energy usage, energy data, that can affect the control that they have over their home. So they're not running their AC all the time. If it's a more efficient home, that home's going to be able to heat or cool much easier. And then it affects the comfort of the home overall. If it's done right, if it's done well, you're going to have a nice balance of efficiency and airflow, and it's just going to feel better inside. So again, the product that realtors sell are changing. And there's a group of people that are helping to facilitate this change. And it's these people, yeah? So it's the MLS, woohoo! It's REZO, and it's HEIA. Who's familiar with HEIA? Just, I'm curious. Nobody. Okay. This is a few of you. It's a DOE initiative to really just help these three groups work together and increase efficiency and performance for homes by doing a few things. And one is creating a common language. They call it energy transparency. It's going to get all the information out there about how the home performs. Now, why is this important? Because that information about how the home performs is critical to link back to the preferences of the home buyers who are looking for said homes. So the goal here is to get these three folks, these three groups working together test out green data energy fields that were developed by Rezone and part of the RETS data dictionary. And there'll be a rollout, there's part of a continuous rollout of data fields that will continue for several years that will help make this information available to our MLSs around the country, to you guys. You'll have the option to have these fields available. It's not a mandate. But this will deliver data about, again, home performance and whether or not the client, remember, is coming and asking for a green home. They want the benefits that it provides. So harness these benefits and use that as a thing, as a catalyst to market this set of homes. So real estate, what this does is it creates consistency. It allows for searchability. Some of these test markets that are implementing the green fields already, there's about, 30 to 40-ish green data fields that are out there. We have about, I think there's 5 or 7-ish markets that are testing it right now. And that includes places like Chicago and Portland and DC. And those areas are able to list a home with high-efficient windows. And that high-efficient window data field will mean the same thing in Austin, Texas, as it does in Oklahoma City. And that's important because previously, whenever MLSs had integrated green fields into their process, it was sort of based on interest and demand in that area. And there wasn't really a cohesive language and comprehension about the impact that different fields could have. So it's creating consistency nationwide, which will eventually impact the value of these homes. So here we are. So I used to watch a lot of Rocky and Bullwinkle. There were always two titles for every episode. So this is how does this affect real estate data, or how you all can be the hero in the real estate market. As these fields come available, and that is January of 2018, it will create more opportunities for appraisers and for lenders. And it will increase the number of comparable properties with green features, which will perpetuate that increase in housing prices that we talked about for homes that do have green features. So this isn't something that's on the horizon 10 years from now. Get ready for this. This is happening right now. I work very closely with a group of realtors who this is their passion. And they do everything they can every day to work with their local boards, to work with their associations, and to work with their MLSs to really help increase the amount of awareness that's out there on this subject matter, because these discussions are continuing to evolve, and this is becoming normalized, and this is expected by our homeowners. Quick note, I don't have a slide about this, but there's NAR research out there that we teach in NAR's green designation courses. It's about a year old, but the gist of it is this. 50% of home buyers plan to buy a new home in the next 5 years. 75% of millennials plan to buy a new home in the next 5 years. We have about 32-ish% saturation in our market of buyers who are millennials right now. We haven't even hit the tip of the iceberg with that generation. And this is how they were raised. This is what they expect. They don't want a home that they need to sink a bunch of money in to maintain. They want something that's durable. They also want something that's connected. Okay, so green features, if you think about green features, it's not just about HVAC, heating and cooling, lighting, windows, insulation. It's about more than that. It's about the picture of how it's connected to the community. Is it close to things like employment, parks? Is it close to the places that people want to go? Does it have proximity? What about public transit? So there's that date, January 2018. So we have core, bronze, silver, gold, platinum. Gold, silver, bronze, gold, silver, core. January 2018 is silver. That silver rollout of RETS data dictionary fields includes the green data fields. And I would really urge you all to make a note of that and use this as a way to harness a new segment of the market and create value for your members, create value for the agents, and in turn then create value for the home buyers. Well, we do have a challenge of education that's out there. And as I mentioned, NAR has a green designation program. That's wonderful. We're working on getting that information out to everybody. We also have a sustainability program where we can disseminate research, information, field guides, that sort of thing, to raise the bar of understanding, to increase the knowledge that's out there. But it's a long road. I mean, heck, there's 1.18 million realtors out there. I'm going to do my darndest to educate them all, but we're working on it. But aside from the realtors, the appraisers need to be educated, the lenders need to be educated, the raters need to be educated. They need to know how to work together. Yesterday there was an ongoing theme from session to session about collaboration and leadership. That's really what this comes down to, and that's what this is about. So an example about what happens when we're not educated. I have a good friend, realtor in Boston area, and Boston is one of these areas that has the test fields already for the green MLS fields. And he told me a story. We were out to dinner, and he said, you know, I'm so thrilled we have these new fields. I'm able to search for things. Finally, I've never been able to search for a home with green features. So I did a search. He said, I did a quick search for a net zero home. And he did the search, and there was data. There were about 15 homes. And he's like, gosh, we have a really old housing stock, and I don't hear a whole lot about this. I'm really tuned in. I'm going to call one of these agents. So he calls the listing agent, and he says, tell me about this home. You have a net zero home that's so exciting. I can't wait for, clients to go see it. And the guy says, what are you talking about? He said, well, I saw there was an input field there for an energy score. Fun fact, this energy score is a 0 to 60 rating. It's like a golf score. The lower it is, the better. Okay? If you don't know what it is, don't put in 0. That doesn't help anyone. So that's what had happened. The realtor wasn't educated on the issues. He saw this field. He didn't know what it was. He assumed 0 equals null. Okay, put that in there. But what that's doing is impacting the information that's being distributed to the realtors looking for these sorts of properties. And subsequently, it could affect the appraisal process. It could affect the valuation of the home. And again, this is not future stuff. This is happening right now. So when those fields become available in January 2018, again, I would urge all of you to work on getting those implemented into your MLS. Because it benefits so much more than just the MLS industry. It benefits so much more than just realtors. Like I mentioned, it's going to touch the consumers, obviously, the home buyers. Those green data fields are going to tell consumers what the product is that they're looking for because, as I mentioned, that product is changing. The second thing, we're able to look at data about homes with green features. Anything that's out there regarding performance can be a selling point. It could be a selling point. Even if it's just a kitchen remodel, you can point out, or realtors can point out that because it was a kitchen remodel from 2015, it's going to use less water. Your kitchen's going to use less water because that's how it has to be done. The worst job you could do makes it 16% more efficient. It's going to offer some clues about the property, about how it behaves and how it performs, which allows the realtors, as they're showing properties to clients, to point out these and highlight these features that are desirable to homeowners. It's going to equip agents with performance-based data because they're getting more and more questions about what are my utility costs going to be? How much do I owe every month on this house? This will help solve that problem. This will help solve that problem. And the more educated we can get realtors and get appraisers and get MLSs about these issues, the better those conversations are going to be, and the more gaps we're going to bridge in these industries. And then finally, if you think about the evaluation of green features, you're going to send an appraiser to that property. Right now, they walk up and there's no way to know. There's no way to know what's going on in that house. There's no documentation. The onus is on the homeowner. And the realtor needs to know what questions to ask. And if it's there in the MLS, if somebody can point to a listing and say, okay, I see features A through F, and then there's documentation to go along with that, we're going to be able to value these features much, much differently. So when I came in on Wednesday, I was over at the Greater Las Vegas Association of Realtors. I did a quick luncheon presentation with them as well. And one of the first questions I got was, well, how do you do with this with existing homes? How do we even tackle that? My advice and my response, my opinion, would be we got to start somewhere. We got to start somewhere. I've been working in this subset for 8 years, and there is just this intense convergence of technology, sustainability, and different industries working together. That's what we're here to do with this conference. That's what Danae and her staff has put on. And that's really what this all comes down to. So we have homes of the future that are here now. We have agents of the future that we're getting there. But really, it's all coming together in a nice package. And realtors and MLSs have a real opportunity to bridge the gap for communicating the value of these benefits to homeowners as they continue to come through the